Life in Tibet, when faith is all you have left. Mount Kailash's 50-kilometer circuit rises beyond 5,000 meters. Some pilgrims cross it prostrating. Yarkhangar reveals what sustains devotion when even its shelter is removed. Across the plateau, daily life does not move only by train timetables or market bells. Before dawn, pilgrims lower their bodies to stone. Hands turn prayer wheels. A final small coin may buy butter for a lamp while its giver keeps only dried food. I keep returning to one question: when shelter, warmth, and money run thin, is faith a support or the only thing left? In this video, we follow that question across Tibet and the surrounding highlands, where devotion sets the pace of work, study, travel, and endurance. Before sunrise, Lhasa begins moving fast around pilgrims who have chosen the slowest possible road. At roughly 3,600 meters, each breath carries only about 2/3 of the oxygen available at sea level. Pilgrims begin the kora around the Jokhang, while sanitation crews sweep. Vendors heat tea, and delivery workers clear their loads before the lanes tighten. Faith does not wait for the city to wake. It sets the first rhythm. Cold, dry air punishes haste. Residents adapted to altitude keep moving as newcomers slow, and the morning divides into school runs, commutes, worship, and trade. Behind whitewashed facades, restaurants, clinics, workshops, offices, and shops open into courtyards. Prayer beads pass beside scooters, electric vehicles, and phones used for payment. The Potala still commands the valley, but its horizon now includes apartments, hospitals, universities, shopping centers, and broad roads. Ancient authority and rapid growth occupy the same cold basin. Tibetan speech, incense, tourism work, Mandarin language education, migration, and digital services press together before breakfast. None erases the others. Each competes for time, space, and labor. By breakfast, Lhasa has already spent breath, labor, and prayer on competing clocks. The shortest path has no authority at Barkhor. Movement around the Jokhang runs clockwise. Barkhor Street binds pilgrimage, security checks, deliveries, and trade inside the same compact circuit. Pilgrims enter with prayer wheels and beads, reciting mantras through one circuit or many. Office workers, monks, families, and organized groups must fold their pace into that repeated motion. The hardest measure is a human body. Prostrators stand, lower themselves, stretch across the pavement, rise, then begin again, protected only by aprons, gloves, or wooden hand blocks. Passing feet do not stop the sequence. Queues and security checks narrow the flow near the temple, yet the clockwise circuit keeps absorbing delay. Along its edge, shops sell incense, butter, beads, religious texts, groceries, clothing, jewelry, souvenirs, and modern footwear. Stock arrives through narrow pedestrian lanes. Money that once changed hands can now move by phone. Renovation, surveillance, visitor controls, and tourism retail keep reshaping the district, but every business still adjusts to the sacred current rather than replacing it. One prostrator rises into the crowd, lowers again, and makes the faster city bend around a pace it cannot command. Muscle and breath begin the day outside a shrine many Tibetan Buddhists regard as Tibet's most sacred. Founded in the 7th century, the Jokhang still opens onto travel, waiting, prostration, and controlled entry. Some pilgrims have crossed distant parts of the plateau. Others have come from nearby homes as part of an ordinary morning. Both join the same queue beneath the golden roofs. Outside, each prostration breaks distance into the length of a body. Hands descend, the torso extends along the stone, and the pilgrim rises to make the body bear distance again. Generations of repetition have polished the surface, leaving a record made by pressure rather than inscription. When the doors open, worshippers move clockwise through dim chapels under strict control. White katas, money, incense, and clarified yak butter pass forward as offerings. The butter feeds lamps whose light depends on constant, careful replenishment. The principal focus is the Yo Shakyamuni image, traditionally believed to show the Buddha as a young man. Behind that devotion, monks and workers manage doors, lines, smoke, fuel, floors, offerings, and restricted rooms. Here, the slowest body reaches the threshold by refusing every shortcut. A railway built for speed ends in a city where some pilgrims still measure distance with the full length of the body. Since 2006, trains have reached Lhasa after crossing permafrost and the Tangala Pass at more than 5,000 meters. The engineering work continues beneath the rails. Bridges, insulation, and ground cooling measures restrain thawing permafrost before it can deform the track bed. Inside oxygen-supported cars, altitude is managed by machinery. At the platform, thin air becomes a human fact again. Students return to school. Workers chase wages. Patients seek specialist care. And families close distances once measured in long road days. Freight carries food, parcels, building materials, and manufactured goods inward, then regional products outward. Porters turn that national-scale connection into hard, local labor. Faster travel has lowered some costs and expanded tourism, construction, retail, and access to services. It has also tightened competition and loaded more demand onto housing, roads, water, and waste. Rail travel changes who can arrive, how often, and at what cost. It does not remove acclimatization, queues, porterage, or the pressure of settling into the city. The station delivers 2 clocks into Lhasa, timetables measured in minutes, and devotion measured in repetition. At 4,000 meters, mobility is not freedom. It is the tool that keeps grass, water, and livestock from failing together. Laitang's herding families follow yaks and sheep across seasonal pasture while fences, quotas, schooling, and settlement programs narrow that movement. Laitang lies in Kham, within present-day Sichuan. Crops struggle in the cold, oxygen-poor air, but yaks and sheep turn sparse pasture into food and income. Each move begins with evidence. grass, water, weather, and permitted access. Herders count calves and lambs, inspect injuries, and shift animals before a pasture is stripped. Milk becomes butter and cheese. Dung is gathered and dried because timber is scarce and fuel cannot be optional. The camp is no museum piece. Motorcycles reach scattered herds. Phones carry forecasts and prices. Solar panels charge equipment, and trucks haul animals or supplies. Tools cannot uncover forage buried by snow, refill streams in drought, or restore pasture weakened by warming. They cannot loosen a grazing quota. Seasonal tents now coexist with winter houses and town services. Each fixed obligation reduces the freedom to rest damaged ground. Lighting makes the tension physical. Reading the grass slowly is not nostalgia, but the condition for keeping animals and pasture alive. The peach blossom that draws crowds appears at the exact moment village labor becomes most unforgiving. In Nyanki's lower, wetter valleys, spring means pruning trees, clearing irrigation channels, sowing fields, and racing the next frost. Monsoon moisture enters through the Yarlung Sangpo corridor, feeding forests, river terraces, and orchards. The same water also loosens steep ground and can cut the road to market. Families do not simply wait for fruit. They repair channels, prepare soil, plant barley, wheat, rapeseed, and vegetables, then tend livestock beside the orchard work. Late frost can stop a crop before fruit forms. Hail and heavy rain can undo weeks of careful timing. Blossom season opens a short income window. Demand for rooms, meals, drivers, guides, food sellers, and photographers. Some households also sell fruit and local products online. Others combine farming with construction, transport, government jobs, or work in nearby towns. The blossoms attract the crowd. Other jobs continue after the crowd leaves. Faith cannot clear a blocked channel or cancel uncertainty. It steadies repeated labor: prune, plant, tend, repair. Nyanki's spring is built by families who work at the land's slow pace, while weather and markets change in hours. Vast center of Buddhist study rose from rooms small enough to make comfort secondary. Founded in 1980 by Khenpo Jigme Phuntsok near Sirtar, Larungar drew monks, nuns, and lay students into one high valley. Students came for teachings unavailable in many home communities. The dense settlement kept thousands close to teachers and to one another. A day could begin with recitation, then tighten around lectures, memorization, philosophical debate, communal ritual, meals, and private study. Study and ritual governed the entire day. High-altitude study rests on hard logistics: water, food, fuel, heat, waste, medical care, all had to cross steep paths in snow or mud. The physical bargain was severe: a narrow cabin and harsh climate accepted for time near a teacher. Devotion still required housing, roads, heat, and a permitted address. Beginning in 2016, dismantled housing, relocations, enrollment limits, and tighter residency controls reduced the population. Cleared zones and new roads changed the old pattern of red cabins. The change exposed a hard fact. Religious education needs a bed, a path, heat, and permission to remain. At Larangar, progress is counted in lines memorized and years kept near a teacher. Beside a paved road built for speed, Salt still climbs a canyon by human effort. For about 13 centuries, mineral brine from wells near the upper Mekong has been lifted to clay-topped wooden terraces above the river. The work is simple only in outline. Water must rise against the slope, then spread in shallow layers beneath sun, wind, and dry air. When the water leaves, workers rake the crystals, pack the salt, and begin again. Local minerals and soil can color each terrace differently. Women have traditionally done much of it, lifting, spreading, scraping, and packing salt for home or sale. Salt, moisture, gravity, and age weaken the supports, forcing constant repair. The old exchange routes have given way to trucks and wider markets. Yet cheap industrial salt now reaches customers faster than hand-worked crystals can leave this valley. Modern regulation adds another burden. Survival now depends on product sales, household income, terrace maintenance, and visitors willing to value the labor behind each sack. Cheap salt can undercut the price, but not remove the labor. At Yanjing, a working life is counted in loads carried uphill and shallow layers left to the sun. City, about 3,800 meters above sea level, becomes the working center for an entire countryside. Shigatse, the second largest city in the Tibet Autonomous Region, gathers farm vehicles and buses carrying produce, traders, patients, students, and pilgrims each morning. The market does more than set prices. It turns grain, vegetables, and dairy products into cash, then sends goods and wages back towards smaller settlements. Banks, government offices, hospitals, and Tibetan medicine institutions concentrate services that villages cannot sustain alone. One journey into Shigatse can connect a household to treatment, credit, paperwork, or trade. School traffic carries a different pressure. Education in Tibetan and Mandarin can open routes toward university, public employment, tourism, transport, or work farther from home. Yet Tashil Hunpo Monastery measures value differently. It draws pilgrims and sustains monastic routines, binding study and devotion to a city driven by exchange. Shigatse Duzong overlooks newer apartment blocks and road construction, while routes west toward Ngari and south toward the Everest region carry supplies far beyond the city. Every trip to market, class, clinic, or monastery spends the same scarce household hours. Shigatse offers access by concentrating the region's competing demands in one place. For thousands of women, one small room made a vast religious life possible at 4,000 meters. At its peak, Yarkhangar held more than 10,000 residents, and women formed the clear majority. The huts did more than provide shelter. Each held recitation, meditation, sleep, and private practice behind a few wooden walls. Collective life gave nuns access to teachers and a large religious community. One small room preserved the solitude needed for retreat. Discipline also demanded hard labor. Water was carried, meals prepared, fuel found, paths cleared, and roofs repaired against winter cold. Scarcity shaped every hour available for practice. Whether faith supported the hardship or was all that remained, the practice continued. Since 2019, authorities have dismantled large areas of housing. Many residents were removed, relocated, or prevented from returning. Losing a hut could interrupt a retreat, separate a student from a teacher, and break the daily order that sustained study. The cleared ground marks more than a change in housing. At Yarkangar, the cleared ground records interrupted women's education, retreats broken, teachers separated from students, and permission replacing permanence. To lose 1,800 meters of altitude, this highway refuses the shortest path. From Yella Pass toward the New River Valley, the road folds across the mountainside, again and again. Even the famous count of 72 bends varies. Each switchback trades distance for a gradient heavy vehicles can manage. More road reduces the grade. Before descending, truck and bus drivers check weather, brakes, tires, loads, and traffic. Once committed, they select low gears and engine braking to control heat before it builds. Blind corners leave no room for haste. Fog and ice-cut grip in sight, rain or thaw can release rockfall, debris, and landslides. Road crews clear material, repair barriers, stabilize damaged sections, and manage closures when passage becomes unsafe. The highway carries vegetables, fuel, medicine, mail, machinery, students, workers, tourists, buses, and ambulances between eastern Tibet and cities farther east. A closure can raise prices, delay appointments, halt building schedules, and obstruct urgent travel far beyond one bend. The spectacle is the visible face of a supply line under pressure. On the Nujong turns, restraint is not a metaphor. It is what keeps passengers, medicine, and food moving through unstable ground. Sacred water does not soften winter more than 4,400 meters above sea level. Around Yamdrok, Yumtso, cold nights, hard wind, thin soils, and a short-growing season force villages to depend on sheep, goats, cattle, and yaks. Altitude turns every household task into winter preparation. Animals must be released and counted, milk handled, wool sorted, pens repaired, dung dried for fuel, and fodder cut and stored. Yamdrok Yumtso also belongs to Tibetan Buddhist sacred geography. Nearby, Samding Monastery is tied to the Dorje Phagmo tradition, one of Tibet's important female incarnation lineages. Faith also shapes what households take from the lake. Religious attitudes have helped sustain local restrictions or taboos on fishing, so the lake is not treated simply as a food reserve. Roads now bring tour buses, motorcycles, photographers, and seasonal income from food, transport, animal photographs, and small sales. The same traffic brings litter and pressure to pasture edges. Solar panels and motor vehicles reduce isolation, but they cannot lengthen the growing season or thicken the soil. Devotion protects the lake's meaning. Fodder and fuel protect the household. Both claims must fit onto the same narrow ground before winter. The defining act at one of Asia's most sacred peaks is not climbing it, but refusing the summit. Mount Kailash rises about 6,600 meters, yet the pilgrimage turns around a circuit of roughly 50 kilometers. Climbing is prohibited, and no ascent has been reliably confirmed. Sacred movement remains below, around the mountain, never over it. Buddhist and Hindu pilgrims generally move clockwise. Followers of Bon traditionally take the opposite direction. The circuit commonly takes 3 days, passing simple rest points before climbing toward Drol Mala at roughly 5,600 meters. Cold, wind, snow, and reduced oxygen make the pass the physical test. Horses, yak handlers, porters, drivers, and lodge workers hold the route together for pilgrims carrying age, illness, or poor acclimatization. The descent offers no clean release. Fatigue and weather remain. Some pilgrims advance through full-body prostrations, pressing their entire length to the ground before each short gain. A 3-day circuit then becomes a much longer discipline, measured in contact with stone and dust. At Kailash, arrival means circling what cannot be possessed. The refusal of the summit, not conquest, is the pilgrimage's final measure. A palace built to command a kingdom now survives by controlling every footstep through its doors. More than 1,000 rooms climb Marpo Ri, while timed routes shield timber, murals, textiles, and lamps from moisture, fire, and wear. The present walls began rising in the mid-17th century on ground already marked by a royal residence nearly 1,000 years older. The White Palace held residence and government. The Red Palace concentrated chapels, manuscripts, sacred images, murals, and stupas. Until 1959, this was a winter seat of rule as well as faith. That household is gone, but worship continues inside a museum and UNESCO World Heritage Site. Thin air slows the long stairways. Custodians also slow the flow of bodies, protecting fragile rooms from heat, damp, fire, and friction. Beyond the palace, some pilgrims approach Lhasa through full-body prostrations, pressing torso, hands, and knees to the road before rising and repeating the distance. Outside the timed visitor route, prostrators submit distance to knees, hands, and breath. Roads may compress the plateau. The strain remains personal. The palace survives because pilgrims, visitors, and custodians all accept limits on how they move through it. A kingdom once turned one narrow ridge into a vertical capital of faith, trade, and defense. From around the 10th century, Guj controlled links between western Tibet, Ladakh, Kashmir, and India. Saparang's lower slopes held caves and dwellings. Above them stood temples and administrative rooms. with tunnels and steep paths pressing toward a fortified citadel. This was not an outpost sealed from the world. Rulers, merchants, monks, translators, and artists crossed these routes, carrying scholarship and styles through the Himalaya. The surviving murals hold Tibetan Buddhist themes beside influences from South Asia. Guj used power not only to guard roads, but to build temples and support the later transmission of Buddhism in Western Tibet. Then political force broke the order built into the ridge. Ladakhi forces captured Guj in 1630, disrupted routes, severe environmental limits, and population loss helped empty the capital. Rain still cuts soft sediment, wind strips exposed faces, and unstable ground shifts. Human visitation adds pressure to remains already weakened by upheaval. Guj's power vanished quickly. Reaching what remains still requires the body's pace through tunnels and steep paths. One of the plateau's holiest waters survives where every form of contact leaves pressure behind. Lake Manasarovar lies about 4,600 meters high, a freshwater basin beside saline Raksastal and south of Mount Kailash. Sacred to Hindus, Buddhists, Jains, and followers of Bon, the lake is often joined to the Kailash circuit. Its Sanskrit name is commonly read as Lake of the Mind, yet reverence here remains physical: prayer, meditation, offerings, collected water, and washing in bitter cold. Wind, thin air, and ultraviolet exposure turn each visit into bodily work. Roads and vehicles now bring more people into the basin, reducing the time and labor once required to reach it. But concentrated access brings waste, sanitation demands, and trampling to the busiest sections of shore. Water extent and quality respond to precipitation, snow and ice melt, inflow, evaporation, and a changing climate. No single cause explains every shift, which makes careless pressure harder to dismiss. Winter ice closes the surface and alters access. Warmer months open the water to migratory birds, prayer, and water gathering. One hard balance remains. Faith draws people to Manasarovar, but its fragile shore can endure only if faster access leaves less waste behind. A river can run nearly 6,000 meters below nearby mountain crests and still carry decisions made here across national borders. The Yarlung Tsangpo Grand Canyon extends for roughly 500 kilometers around Namche Barwa. Beyond Tibet, the river becomes the Siang or Dihang before joining the Brahmaputra system. Tectonic uplift raises the region while the river cuts downward. Monsoon moisture enters the gorge, feeding tributaries, waterfalls, dense vegetation, and powerful seasonal flow. The vertical drop compresses an entire ecological sequence into one corridor, from ice and alpine ground through temperate woodland toward humid subtropical forest. That same steepness punishes every human foothold. Rockfall, landslides, and erosion threaten villages, bridges, roads, and power lines, turning short map distances into long detours. The next pressure is engineered at continental scale. China approved a major lower reaches hydropower project late in 2024, and construction began in 2025. Harnessing this river sharpens concerns over access, habitats, sediment movement, seismic and landslide risk, and displacement. Downstream, India and Bangladesh must also reckon with choices made high inside the gorge. Here, speed is no longer only convenience. Decisions made upstream can reorder habitat, settlement, and risk far beyond the gorge. This forest has no trees. It is a basin where water built the ground and then began tearing it apart. Ancient lakes and rivers laid down silt, sand, clay, and gravel. Regional uplift tilted those beds into the reach of streams and seasonal runoff. That combination produced towers, ridges, walls, and ravines that resemble fortifications. Harder layers briefly shield softer sediment beneath, leaving columns where the surrounding ground has been cut away. Wind removes loose grains, frost opens cracks, rain deepens gullies, and gravity pulls unsupported faces down. Nothing here is finished. Seasonal runoff and frost keep altering the basin, while shifting shadows expose forms hidden only hours earlier. Near Guj, the natural walls can look like another ruined city, but they are not Saparang's caves, temples, or masonry. One was deposited and cut by the earth, the other built for rule and worship. Roads expose the true depth. They descend into ravines and reappear across the basin, while vehicles, villages, and irrigated plots show how small each human foothold remains. The basin's timescale reduces roads, villages, and kingdoms to brief footholds. Every exposed wall is temporary. The highest summit depends on thousands of tasks completed far below it. Kumalangma rises nearly 8,900 meters on the Tibet-Nepal border, yet no climber reaches its slopes alone. The northern approach crosses dry, high-altitude ground toward Rongbuk Monastery and the authorized tourist base camp. Beyond it, permits and expedition rules control who proceeds. Before a summit attempt, Tibetan and Sherpa workers move food, oxygen cylinders, tents, fuel, communications gear, and medical supplies through a chain of camps. Drivers, cooks, guides, forecasters, load carriers, rope teams, and rescue crews keep that chain working. Low oxygen turns ascent into repetition. Acclimatization demands repeated rotations up and down, not one clean push toward the top. Wind, cold, avalanche exposure, and narrow weather windows can halt an attempt regardless of preparation. Waiting is not delay here, it is part of the work. Retreating and changing glaciers alter routes and hazards over time. Human waste, empty cylinders, and abandoned equipment have forced cleanup campaigns and tighter controls, though removal remains dangerous. Rongbuk Monastery places religious discipline beside transport, permits, and ambition. The summit photograph records an instant. Every arrival depends on slow return, labor, and restraint. At about 4,700 meters, easier access concentrates people in vehicles along Namtso's sacred shore. Altitude still punishes haste. North of Lhasa, this saline lake occupies a closed basin. Rain, streams, snowmelt, and ice melt enter. No river carries the water and dissolved salts away. confinement shapes the lake's chemistry and its pressure on life. Much of the surface freezes in winter, while sudden winds can drive cold waves and weather changes in warmer months. Around the Tashi-Dor Peninsula, Tibetan Buddhists and Bon practitioners visit caves and pilgrimage sites. The Year of the Sheep gives the journey special weight in the calendar. The basin feeds herders pasture and gives kiangs and migratory birds room to move. Sacred ground, grazing land, and a saline ecosystem must occupy the same margin. Roads have added tickets, guest houses, food stalls, buses, and crowds around formations, such as the Holy Elephant Gate. They create work, but they also concentrate litter, vehicle disturbance, and demand for water and waste handling. The harder test is no longer simply reaching Namtso. It is allowing more people to arrive without exhausting the shore that receives them. Monastery clings to a cliff where even reaching prayer demands hours of climbing. Tiger's Nest stands more than 3,000 meters above sea level, roughly 900 meters over Bhutan's Paro Valley. Tradition says Padmasambhava came to this rock on a tigress and meditated in a cave. The sacred claim came first. The monastery founded in the late 17th century came later. The road never reaches the chapels. Pilgrims and visitors take the Pine Trail, pass prayer flags, descend toward a waterfall, cross a bridge, then climb again. That approach is not decorative hardship. It keeps the religious interior apart from the valley, while forcing people to surrender speed to stone, breath, and distance. On this cliff, faith also needs engineering. Trails must be repaired, stairs held, bridges secured, and buildings maintained where gravity exposes every weak joint. Fire heavily damaged the complex in the late 1990s. Years of reconstruction followed, and Taksang reopened in the middle of the next decade. Taksang remains a place of worship, not merely a landmark. The final stairs leave every visitor breathing at the pace the cliff imposes. Mountain above 8,600 meters begins with a road that cannot reach it. K2's expeditions must carry a camp across the Baltoro Glacier before climbing starts. K2 stands in the Karakoram on the boundary between Pakistan-administered Gilgit-Baltistan and China's Xinjiang region. It is neither in Tibet nor part of the Himalayas. Most teams approach through Pakistan, moving from Skardu toward Askol. Balti porters then carry tents, food, fuel, ropes, and equipment toward Concordia and base camp. The Balti communities are predominantly Muslim, with their own languages and mountain history. K2 is a boundary in this story, not an extension of Tibetan Buddhist life. Vaticals cannot cross the glacier route. Porters, cooks, liaison staff, guides, and weather teams keep expeditions supplied before the steep climbing begins. Above base camp, the Abruzzi Spur brings steep rock, ice, severe storms, and limited rescue. The bottleneck passes beneath unstable seracs near the summit route. The first confirmed ascent came in 1954. The first winter summit came in 2021. These were breakthroughs, not control. At K2, slowness belongs to survival rather than Buddhist discipline. Porter's labor carries every summit bid out and back. Thousands of openings cut into bare cliffs now look down on roads that can rewrite the valley beneath them. Across Upper Mustang in northern Nepal, difficult cave routes stand above trucks and motorcycles that can replace days of caravan travel. This was the former kingdom of Lo, culturally tied to Tibet through language, Buddhist practice, architecture, and caravan exchange. But it is not part of Tibet. That distinction matters. Faith crossed high borders long before engines did. No single story explains the caves. Across long periods they served as homes, grain stores, refuges, meditation cells, and monastic rooms. Height protected some spaces, but now complicates their survival. Unstable sediment, erosion, wind, and water infiltration threaten the interiors. Access may require modern ropes, and human entry adds pressure. Controlled permits slow entry into the region, but roads speed everything else. They can lower transport costs and bring materials and visitors faster, while dust coats old trails, new construction follows, and trade shifts away from pack animals. Engineers cut travel time on the valley floor. The caves above gain no such protection. Faster access now makes restraint, not remoteness, their best defense. Two rivers made this fortress powerful, and the same rivers still press against its walls. Built nearly 4 centuries ago by Zhabdrung and Gawang Namgyal, at the meeting of Bhutan's Phochu and Mochu, Punakha Dzong controlled movement through the valley. Massive walls hold temples, monastic quarters, towers, courtyards, and government rooms. Faith and administration work behind the same defenses. The Dzong once served as Bhutan's capital. It remains the winter residence of the Jokhang and the central monastic body, whose move from colder Thimphu carries monks, ritual objects, and daily discipline into the fortress. Royal authority was fixed here as well, the installation of Ujjian Wanchuk in the early 20th century, then a royal wedding more than a century later. But ceremony never cancels exposure. Fires, earthquakes, river floods, and sudden surges from glacial lakes have repeatedly forced reconstruction, river defenses, and constant restoration. That labor is the hidden condition behind every ritual and official gathering. Stone endures because crews keep repairing what water and shifting ground loosen. Punakha never defeats the rivers. It preserves continuity by rebuilding, season after season, where faith, power, land, and water remain locked together. Caravan City at 3,500 meters is now racing to become a modern hub without gaining another source of water. Les Airport, army compounds, schools, hotels, and new neighborhoods spread across a high desert still fed by snow and glacier melt. The old bazaar records the city's earlier power, caravan trade. Pack animals arrived after long crossings, linking Kashmir, Tibet, Central Asia, and the Indian plains. Modern borders reduced that exchange. Li then grew around government offices, military transport, education, and tourism. Roads and aircraft now bring jobs and supplies at a speed caravans never could. The 17th century palace still overlooks the market. Shanti Stupa and the monasteries at Thixi and She keep Buddhist study and ritual beside new construction. Growth has a direct cost. Hotels, guest houses, construction, and a larger year-round population demand more water just as the timing of snow and glacier melt grows less predictable. Traditional channels must still divide that flow among barley fields, orchards, and household storage. Congestion, dust, waste, and housing pressure follow the same roads that deliver wages and supplies. Across these highlands, speed can deliver people and goods, but it cannot create water, time, or endurance. Faith persists by giving scarce days a disciplined shape. One of Asia's old caravan corridors now runs on water that arrives only when ice releases it. Beyond a road climbing nearly 5,400 meters, military convoys, farm trucks, construction vehicles, and tourist cars crowd the same narrow access. Old routes carried wool, salt, animals, and traders between Tibet and Central Asia. Borders changed that traffic, but Nubra still depends on passage, supplies over the pass, meltwater through channels. Those channels turn barren ground into barley, wheat, peas, mustard, orchards, poplar, and willow. If thaw comes late or a channel breaks, planting and household water tighten together. Near Hundur, wind and river sediment built dunes where domestic Bactrian camels recall the caravan economy. Tourism shifted them from long transport to short rides, creating income while adding pressure. Above Nubra, Diskit Monastery and its Maitreya, over 30 meters tall, keep another scale of time. Roads accelerate trade below. Buddhist discipline keeps returning to repetition, restraint, and study. The apparent separation is false. Farms, monasteries, bases, hotels, and camel camps all draw upon the same water and difficult road. The pass controls who can arrive, meltwater decides what can remain. Modern roads and railways cut a journey from months to days. They carry fuel, concrete, tourists, and state power deep into the plateau. But they cannot make devotion obey the same clock. A prostration still takes the full reach of a body. A butter lamp still consumes money needed for food. Study still demands cold rooms, sparse meals, and years of discipline. I do not think the central fact is simply that faith survives hardship. Faith gives hardship a direction. That distinction matters. When material choices narrow, belief can steady a life, but it can also become all that remains in an age built to move faster. These highlands preserve a harder claim. Power can command distance and reshape land, yet it cannot decide what makes a journey complete. If documentaries should take belief seriously without judging it, continue with this series. Its next journeys will examine how sacred duty holds under altitude, scarcity, new roads, and rapid change in remote highlands.